fast! He's flatlining! We can't lose another one!
Hold up, I think we have the wrong footage here.
Doc, I am detecting vital signs on subject 34. I advise you take a look at this data.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm back with the best upload schedule known to man. Now this video will be a bit different than my usual content of MMO gameplay, and literally nothing. Today I wanted to find out if you can beat the game Alien Removal Division without using the grappling hook. So what is this game about? The short version is you shoot aliens and jump around in a Quake style shoot 'em up. The game being heavily based around movement makes you think that all the movement tech would be required to beat the game. Let's find out if this is true. We start out in a tutorial level that teaches us the basics about movement. So what can you do in this game, and what are we allowed to do in our run? This game has 4 different movement types, those being wall running, double jumping, sliding and dashing in the air, and of course the grappling hook we are not allowed to use in this run. In order to get past the grapple point sections, we'll have to make smart use of our other movement abilities besides the grapple. For some sections, like this one, it's relatively easy, but for other times the solution isn't as obvious. Using our ability to wall run and the 3 walls under the grapple point, we can gain enough height to reach the top of the grapple. From here, we have to make our way over a gap filled with water. A single double jump dash combo isn't enough to reach the other side. The walls are also coated in slime, so we cannot use the wall running abilities to make more distance. Luckily, we can use these pipes on the left hand side to land on and get a second double jump. After passing this gap, the only thing left is shooting these 2 targets and then run to the next section of the game, the bone wall. The bone wall is a time trial, which means that it's important to go fast. However, I'm not very good at this, despite me having a speedrun.com account and my Final Fantasy character kinda looking like Sonic the Hedgehog. But seeing as this is a challenge run and not a speedrun, that shouldn't be that important. Bone wall only really has 1 grapple in it that is quote-unquote mandatory, so it's relatively easy. Coming up to this corner, we'll have to grapple through a hole in the wall. We can just jump on the side of the wall, however, and ignore the grapple point. All of the other minor mistakes you see me doing are definitely because of this challenge run, and not because I'm bad at the game. Now that we're done with the bone wall, there is just 1 grappling point here that separates us from the first combat encounter of the game. As you can see, it was really easy to skip with just a single jump. Now for the first combat encounter of the game, which was obviously too easy, so the developers added a mechanic where the mobs can hit you during the cutscene, forcing me to skip it. After the combat section is done, that totally didn't destroy me 60 times, we just slide down this ramp to jump past the next grapple hook, picking up the assault rifle on the way, which we will then proceed to never use in the entire game because the shotgun is cracked. There is 1 more mechanic in the game I have not explained yet, which is stamina. As you can see under the health bar is a stamina bar divided into smaller bars. Every time you perform a movement action, such as double jumping, wall running or dashing, you will consume a bar and it slowly refills while you're not airborne. While we haven't really dealt with it yet, this mechanic will become important near the end of the run. Now obviously combat doesn't really have grappling points in it, so we'll just skip ahead to the next part. As all of the aliens have been killed, the green barrier blocking our path is now gone, giving us access to the next part of the game. We face a concrete wall that is too high to jump over and has slime covering the walls. while it looks like this would be the end of the run, there's a small spot on the right side where you can regain your double jump ability to make it over. However, the part after the wall also has a grappling point, and if I fall into the water at any point, I'll be sent back to before the wall. Luckily, the jump is not that difficult, and the part after the water is relatively easy because we can stand on the side of the slime covered tunnel. Falling down, we just use one simple air dash to skip the last grapple point, and then we're on to some platforming that does not require any grappling. Now, this next jump may seem impossible, but the slime doesn't cover the entirety of the wall, so we can use it to wall run up. This next room is the bane of my existence. Now you may ask why that is. Well, let me explain. There's 2 grappling hooks back to back in this room, and all of the walls are covered entirely in slime. I'm so glad that this platform that you have to shoot open never closes again. This was by far the hardest part of the run. I tried wall running on every wall, but they all seemed to be slippery enough. This was also when I realized that falling in the water drains 10 HP every time, so I had a fair few deaths here as well. Until I got the really weird jump that sent me up flying. It almost looked like I used a grapple point, but looking at the input overlay there is no keystroke on my W. Now that that's over and done with, we're on to the next combat section, where I immediately skip the cutscene in hopes that I don't die during the cutscene, but then realize there is a door I have to shoot open anyway. Compared to all the other combat sections, this one was relatively easy, mostly because half of the enemies just killed themselves. Now for the last platforming section of the game. We are in a time sequence where the water level is rising, making it so we can't be too slow. This means that if I don't make a jump on the first try, it will most likely be death. While it is for the most part a very straightforward section, there is one grapple that is used to gain a lot of height, making it so we have to wall jump from wall to wall to get up. It's a pretty tricky jump, and the water rising means I get at most 2 attempts before I die. And while I do eventually make it up, after this jump is a grapple that is even higher than this one. Thankfully, the water has stopped rising at this point, so there's no limit to how many attempts I can make. Remember that stamina bar? This is where it comes into play. While we have to do the same wall running loop as before, I don't have enough stamina to make it all the way in one try. So I have to land on top of the door frame to regain stamina and then go for a second loop. So after like 50 attempts, I finally make it up and can answer the question posed at the start. Yes, it is possible to beat Alien Removal Division without using the grappling hook. Now there is a boss fight at the end, but this video was recorded on the release version of the game, so if you want to see it for yourself or check out any of the parts I cut out of the video, feel free to check the game out on Steam. I will put a link to the Steam page in the description of the video. That being said, if you enjoyed it, you can subscribe and I might actually upload another video somewhere in this year.